There's something captivating about a rags to riches story. Whether it be sport, jazz drummers or street dancers, the big and small screen is absolutely filled with diamonds that stand the test of time. When it comes to Savage Rhythm though, this is certainly no diamond in the rough. With a simplistic story, plenty of overdone melodrama and paper-thin characters, this music drama continues dancing long past its number is up. That's a shame because the show does have a few nice ideas, but it certainly doesn't need 8 episodes to tell its story, which does more harm than good in the long run. The plot centers on a young woman named Antonia who wants to become a famous dancer. She faces opposition from everyone, including her new dance choreographer at the Royal, Jacob. Oh, and her mum is pretty disapproving of her too. In fact, she simply tells her daughter that she needs to get a real job. Meanwhile, Antonia's opposite number, Karina, does have a job working in a factory. Her creepy boss, Mr. Tono, constantly makes moves with her, putting Karina in a rather awkward situation. Thankfully, she has her dance group, Pure Street, to fall back on. When Antonia is sidelined with her dancing, she turns to Karina for help. Naturally, what starts off as a friendship soon sours and becomes a bitter rivalry, as the two girls clash constantly. This wouldn't be a melodrama without some romantic love interests to fight over, would it? Those come in the form of Mateo, a bad boy who drugs Antonia in the first episode, and Checho, a guy sporting bleached blonde hair and has his own issues. Checho's sister is Liliana, and his ex is Zemina, both of which have ties with Karina. So naturally, he ends up getting close to Antonia, which causes things to get spicy with Karina when the pair start their feud. In its simplest form, the story blends street dancing with soap opera romance and thrills, but the execution is really poor. In fact, midway through the show there's an extra antagonist thrown in through a gangster called Mario, whom the characters owe money to, and the whole thing just feels messy and poorly plotted. Through it all though, there's absolutely nothing here to justify the runtime, and even worse, the story isn't even resolved by the end. While there is some conclusion for the issues between Antonia and Karina, the actual plot baits for a second season that may or may not arrive. Much will be said about the dancing, and while there are some good numbers in here, there are also a few that really feel awkward and clumsy. In fact, the director seems to know this too, with those scenes constantly cutting to close-ups or different angles when characters aren't quite in sync. Ordinarily, I wouldn't quibble too much about that if the story was good, but honestly, there's so little to chew into that you'll be itching for another dance number to watch, which is really the only selling point here. But unfortunately, even that outstays its welcome before long. Savage Rhythm loses the beat long before the 8 episodes are up, making for a pretty disappointing show overall.